What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome back to another episode of How To Wilds. And today we are taking a look at the high-flying acrobatics of the insect glaive. Now, the insect glaive seems like a fairly complicated weapon, given that you're managing both the insect glaive and the kinsect, and you're setting out this little guy to gain buffs, then make the weapon stronger, and you're leveling up both your kinsect and your insect glaive, and you're hopping around in the air. But it is a very fun weapon to play, and one that is incredibly rewarding when you get it down, and honestly one of my favorites. So let's jump in, break it all down, and we'll tell you what you need to know to jump in and enjoy this weapon. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the gauge in the top left. We have three parts. The first represents our kinsect and any potential buffs the kinsect has collected. The second represents the stamina, and the third represents buffs that have been brought back to us. Now, the basic gist of the insect glaive is the kinsect will grab buffs for us, which then, once we achieve those buffs, we just become stronger. We get a number of different status effects. On top of that, we have a moveset that opens up significantly. And there's a couple different ways you can extract these. In wilds, if we are in focus stance, just attacking in focus stance, the kinsect will attack alongside certain attacks and automatically pull those out for us. Alternatively, we can aim and shoot our kinsect at the monster. And we have this nice little reticle. You can see hitting the face will get me a red buff. If I hit the legs, I'm going to get a white buff. And if I hit the belly, I'm going to get an orange buff. And that's a general rule of thumb. Usually legs are white, body is orange, and face is going to be red. So real fast, we're just going to charge up our kinsect. And we're going to send him on out to collect all the buffs for us. There we go. We got all of our buffs. We'll go ahead and hit him with some poop to send him away. And you can see now all those little things have lit up in the corner. The other thing which I didn't talk about is also going to be the yellow gauge. The yellow gauge is the stamina. That represents how long my kinsect could stay out and continue to attack something before he gets tired and he has to come back. So eventually he's going to come on back when that gauge empties out if I don't call him back. And level 1 kinsects are so slow. Let's go pick up our little buddy. But once we have all the buffs, the moveset of the insect glaive opens up considerably. You can see we're now slashing around. We now gain access to an infinite combo. We can now jump through the air and do a dive and then go into all sorts of flashy stuff. And so this is kind of the beauty of this weapon. We get those buffs and then all of a sudden it's a whole new weapon that we have gained access to. Now, real fast, just to talk a little bit about the specifics of this weapon, keep in mind, once again, it's not just the insect glaive. You also need to keep in mind your kinsect as well. So there are severing or blunt types. Blunt is good for helping it to get a KO. It could hit the head and potentially knock out the monster. Severing will do things like cutting off tails and whatnot. Kinsects can have elements on them, so you could infuse it with fire or ice or whatever you want. The dust effect will determine the type of dust it produces when it's attacking the monster, and you can smack that dust to create an effect. This includes either poison, blast, paralysis, or a little healing cloud. The level is how leveled up the kinsect is, and then the other stats determine how strong the powder is that it's leaving behind. The actual damage the kinsect does as it hits stuff. The speed dictates how fast it is to hit stuff, and then the stamina dictates how long it will stay out. Beyond that, we have an extract boost as well as a kinsect boost. The effect of those is not 100% clear, but I'd assume that the harvest extract it just means that it's going to harvest multiple extracts at once. That's what it was in the last game, so my kinsect can hold up to 2. Extract boost recovery. Assumedly, that means that when I extract a recovery, it's going to get boosted, but this is stuff that's unconfirmed, and I'm just saying this based off of knowledge of previous games. So, talking a little bit about the base moveset of the insect glaive, let's talk about the stuff we don't need our buffs for. So, when your weapon is out and you hold the right trigger, that brings up the aim. With the aim, you would hit Y to send out your kinsect, you would hit B to bring it on back. If you hold Y until this glows and then let it go, you can send him out charged and he can go through a monster getting multiple extracts at the same time. You'll also notice the little kinsect icon in the top left opens up. It shows his wings open, indicating, hey, I'm going to get 3 buffs for you. While we're holding this, we also have access to vaulting, which will jump us into the air. From vaulting, we can press A for a mid-air evade. Y is going to be our advancing slash. That's usually the helicopter attack you may have seen kinsect players do. And then B is going to be the jumping slash, which will typically twirl us on down and hit the monster multiple times. All of these attacks are good for vaulting. We can also mark the enemy from the air which you can see marked a specific spot, and now my Kinsect would hit that specific spot, generating the dust effect. This is the dust. If I walk up and hit it, it'll do a little poison explosion. On top of that, I can also hit right trigger to mark the monster manually in close range, and that'll mark a spot that the Kinsect will then go out and hit repeatedly. Now, once you have collected all 3 of your buffs, which it's actually pretty easy to do if we're in focus mode, because if you're in focus mode, the monster or the Kinsect is just going to attack alongside you, so you're going to get those buffs kind of just passively through combat. Getting the orange buff from this guy can be a little bit of a pain because it doesn't like to expose his body that much. Give me the orange buff so I can show off the moveset, you big dummy. We're just going to do the charge method. There we go. We got our orange buff. Now that we got the orange buff, we'll send him away. But once you have all 3 of your buffs, that's where this weapon actually begins. So from here, our Y attack is a 3-move combo. B is a 2-move combo. And you can weave these together in an infinite combo by going YYB. So Y, Y, B, and then you can repeat. We could also go YYYBB for a full finisher. And then from that, we could release the strong descending slash. Now, a strong descending slash is a new move to the insect glaive. We can only do this while we have the red buff, and you need to hold B to execute this. So the way I typically like to do this is go through my combo, and then when I hit B, I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to release it. And it's a little bit goofy because you're holding and releasing. We can also do this in the air to come down like that. The easiest way I found to do it is vault, hold B, tap Y, and then let go of B. So it's a little bit weird because you're going to jump, vault, press B with the bottom of your thumb, tap Y with the top of your thumb, and then let go of B when you want to land. But we need to hold B to do that move, and we can only do it with red. That's the important thing to remember. In addition, if we want to do our big flashy finisher, we have to do that after that move, and we have to be in focus mode to execute it, our rising slash. So I really like toggle focus because of this, because that means after I do that ability, after I do the hold B, I can just tap B again to immediately go into my special. Otherwise, I'm going to have to remember to hit left trigger or hold left trigger anytime I want to do it, and that's just more stuff that you got to manage. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about with Kinsect? Oh, we do have sidestep slash now, so we can now, I don't know if we had this previously, but yeah, anytime we're attacking, we can go left or right for a little bit of mobility. So it's always the second attack. Boop. You can see how we just have a little bit of mobility working back and forth. B will always do a wide sweep. The second part of it was going to be the finisher. If you're holding it and forward, it's going to go straight into that finisher. So keep that in mind when you're getting ready to hold B and go into that rising slash to make your way into the finisher. And I think that about covers it. We covered marking, we covered stamina. I think we covered everything that we need to cover. Let's go ahead. We'll head back to the hub and we'll get into a hunt. I mean, it sounds like a lot, to be honest. It's a lot easier to discuss this in motion because, at a first glance, it's all right, send out the bug to get the buffs, and with the buffs, you're going to do the thing, and then you get new moves, and you got to hold the button, and once you hold the button, you get your special. It sounds like there's a lot of shit going on, but I promise once we start playing, you're going to be like, oh, this is actually really easy. And it is a fun weapon. I do miss our bounce. Insect Glaive, for the last couple iterations of Monster Hunter, when we did our advancing slash, it would vault us off the monster, and we could do this multiple times. So if there was a monster up in the air, you would attack it and then vault yourself back up in the air, and you could do this 4 times in a row and then do that dive to finish it as it falls to the ground. And it was super flashy. And unfortunately, they took away our bounce. I don't know why they took away our bounce. It's the international Insect Glaive community is very upset. Anywhere there's discussion about Insect Glaive and wilds, people are like, why do they take our helicopter bouncing away? But it did get a lot of new things. I mean, we have the charge, multi-gather. We have the ability to gather off of melee just built into focus. We do have some new flashy combos. So there's a lot that's going on. So I'm going to do a dismount attack. And I'm going to go ahead and charge the Kinsect real fast and just send it out. And doing that right at a monster that's already given us all 3 of our buffs, and we are ready to get going here. And one of the first things I'm going to do is vault, go on over, and get myself a mount. Now I'm going to weapon attack, and then I'm going to hop. Weapon attack, and hop. Second weapon attack makes the wound usually. Second weapon attack makes the wound. Use one more, it looks like. No. Stop that. Don't make me brace it. And now we're going to finish her. This is all just hitting RB. Now that he's down, I'm going to mark him. Just to get the mark up, I want to start getting some dust going to try and get poison. If I can get poison, great. If I can't, oh well. Alright, he is poisoned. So now I'm going to pull my Kinsect in. I'm going to go into focus mode. And we're going to start really attacking. And this is just me doing my Y combo over and over. I'm holding B down right now. Pressing B. Now I'm going to press R1 to try and get the leaping strike. I missed it. But when you get a leaping strike on a wound, and you actually hit a wound with it, you will re-extract all of the essences you need and immediately get those back. So now I'm going to do that thing I talked about here. I'm going to go into him. Just going to go into our infinite combo. Holding B here. Gonna let it rip. Pressing B again for Rising Spiral Slash. Gotta get my essences back. I'm gonna charge and send it out. Managed to get red. Trying to get orange. Might have to send the Kinsect out to get the orange. There we go. Got all 3 for us. And now we're back to it. Why? One thing that kind of is depressing is we don't have an offset or a clash or a perfect dodge. It's one of the few weapons that doesn't have any of those things, but there's still a lot we can do with it. Now that I got a wound, now's a good time to go into the combo. So Y, B. Oh. Actually, I think I popped the wound. I'll just get the descending slash. Y, B. Y, B. I'm just doing the infinite combo over and over again. I'll let B rip out here. I'm gonna hit B again to fly up. Jump over and get on top of him. Gonna send out the Kinsect while he's down. No, come back here. Come back here. Give me your butt. He's running away for his life. It's understandable. He's taken a lot of combos. Yeah, ideally, when I'm doing the Rising Slash finisher, the one that you do out of holding B, I like to try and make sure there's already a weak spot on the monster. Because ideally, what I like to do when that happens is... That's your belly. Ideally, if there's a weak spot, I can do that move. Then land on the weak spot, like, off of it, so... Press B and go into it, and then aim for the weak spot, vault off, and shoot the Kinsect, but this doesn't seem to be working out today. Let's see, if he doesn't die right here, I might be able to pull it off. He died. He was like, please just stop. Life is pain. Let me die. So, I mean, even without the helicopter, it is still a very fun weapon. There's a lot going on, and I will say that the finisher it's very flashy. You know, we're vaulting up into the air, just a flurry of us swinging the glaive and the kinsect flying all over the place. And it's still a pretty enjoyable weapon. I think people that fell in love with the insect glaive in World and Iceborne are just going to be a little disappointed because no helicopter. But biggest things to remember: when you're in focus mode, your kinsect is going to help to extract essences. If you're really struggling, hold right trigger, hold down Y, send that kinsect out. There's a good chance he's going to collect all 3. Besides that, anytime you use your leaping strike and you hit a wound, that will also always get you all 3. So we have way easier essence gathering than we did in previous titles. And even then, you know, if you still want to stick with the old style of just aiming and sending the kinsect out to get an essence, just get one with some decent speed, and that's all you're going to have to do. So we're going to wrap things up here. Coming up next, we got the hammer on deck, which is a lot more straightforward. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you soon with the bonks.